Good morning, everyone. It is December 31st, last day of 2021. This is Morning Market Movers, where we do live analysis for day trading. If I sound a little funny, it's because my headset just went out on me right now. So, I guess
It
out with the
expired.
old, in with the new. Out with the old headset this year. I'll have to get a new one for
It
the
expired
new.
a little bit early.
Oh, that's why the warranty ends in 2021.
Yep, it's done.
you knew that was going to happen. All right, we are going to look at some hot spots for the day, or try to find what we could talk about as hot spots for the day, if there are any. My name is Todd Rich. I'm with Nadex. With me, Brian Caprice from Keep Trading Simple. And really what we've got today, what we're looking at is oil trading lower on the last day of the year, which is rather interesting in an environment where we're supposed to be looking at inflation, and other inflationary assets are trying to move higher. Not so much oil. It taking the Canadian dollar down with it. So we'll take a look at oil and US CAD, and then we might just gander a little bit over at the equities. Very calm open, very quiet in the markets. Absolutely no news, no economic events. It's the last day of the year. Uh, we'll see if it's got any surprises for us. Before Brian and I jump into it, I do need to quickly share this disclaimer that trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for everyone. That any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. And this is an educational session. Please do not construe anything Brian or I say as a buy or sell recommendation. We're doing this for your education purposes. I mean, as you can see, oil trading down all night last night. Definitely looking weak. It's taking the Canadian dollar with it. It's the 75.40 level. It just loves to hover right there for some reason. I don't know. We got some nice equilibrium there. But you know what? I'm going to go ahead and, Brian, I'm just going to flip it over to you. I don't think we've
Sure.
got a lot to really talk
Yeah.
about today. Nothing very exciting, but oil down, Canadian dollar down with it, and then whatever else you want to kind of toss in.
Yep. Yeah. There's not a lot today. I mean, on the latest and hottest news stories, the UK consumer spending on experiences at home jumped during pandemic. Yeah, probably in most countries, I feel like that would be the case, that people would be doing more things at home. I don't know. But speaking of that, that could be the tone for today, just overall in general. There's a headline here from 2 hours ago, from NASDAQ, that JP Morgan and Citi staff to start 2022 with remote work. So don't know if this is the trend or not. I mentioned yesterday or the day before, I thought that the way it looked like it was kind of shaping up with cases, it looked like we may actually end the year on a red. Looks like some of the news and headlines out there are kind of looking like that. I know that you're starting to see big events being canceled. That's not kind of what people want to hear going into the last day. I know a lot of, at least in my area, a lot of New Year's Eve events are gone. There are some big conferences in Baltimore in like a week, 2 weeks or actually 2 weeks from now, that you guys know that I coach my son's lacrosse team. LaxCon is like the big meetup of the year. They are obviously local. It's in Baltimore. It's in 2 weeks, and two of the biggest names in the sport have now pulled out already. And we're only like 10 days out, something like that. Well, two of the local vendors. So kind of interesting to see big names leaving things, and again, seeing JP Morgan and Citi starting remote. Kind of interesting way to start. Some of the numbers we saw yesterday. I know Maryland topped 10,000 positive cases yesterday or the day before, and our prior peak before that was like 3,300 or something, 3,500, and the state was like, oh my god, this is crazy. And now we're over 10,000. So yeah, dollar CAD, again, oil and dollar CAD typically have an interesting relationship. They're typically correlated. Whenever you see dollar weakness, you typically will see the dollar CAD going up. It's actually going down right now, and there was some news. Again, it's very rare that you see oil weakness and CAD strength come in at the same time. And a little bit of, probably what we're seeing is, again, there was one article this morning about how the Canadian dollar is kind of lagged behind everybody else, and that, expect January to be kind of really where it starts putting work back in. Really, most of the movement in the dollar CAD has been oil-based. But then there's also a story that we just saw a little while ago, and this is probably what the main driver is, that OPEC Plus is likely to stick to its existing policy in January. I've been saying this after we watched that big drop in price and then the big push back up again. The reason why OPEC has been staying with the messaging that they have is because they said that we were providing stability. And yeah, I mean, everything that they did, yeah, the stability, it was high, right? $80, a barrel is kind of what their stability looks like. The 50 million strategic reserve release kind of threw that into kind of a push down and then immediately pushed it back up again. And like I said, that's a resource. They're not stupid. They know that that resource is not something you can tap all the time. And, until the government decides to start raising interest rates, inflation will continue to move. We've seen that a couple different news articles already about talking about it's at 5, it's going to go up to 6 in the UK. We're going to see ours go higher. Really, until they move interest rates, nothing's happening. So OPEC is like, it's not our problem to release more. It's your problem to raise interest rates where they should be. And at this point, not that I like to put a chip on OPEC, but I feel like OPEC is correct in this decision. So besides that, absolutely no news today. Seeing heavy snow in some places. Currency market pretty much dead right now. Dollar, dollar weakness across the board. Dollar Swiss, dollar CAD are the two biggest. Besides that, rather flat. I mean, the pound dollar is completely flat. Nothing over there. We mentioned oil. Looking at oil, you can see that again, that 74.50-ish level. It's trying. Now, this is not an entry for that Harry Potter, but again, with it popping up and now kind of basing and not rallying all back up again, today could be the day finally. I mean, it's one of those things. It's an if this, then that base trade. We blew out the previous buyers, and we know at this point we're dealing with this kind of category. We hear lockdown, then, again, locking down is a pushback down to the 73 level. So it's kind of there. Do you want to trade on the last day? Maybe not. Maybe not. Problem is at this point, again, do you want to hold over a weekend? Do you want to hold over a holiday? Do you want to hold into the first of the year? A lot of things in there and a lot of risk if you do. So I think it's one of those kind of one of those setups. If you want to avoid the risk, call it quits early today. If not, again, maybe this holds until next week. If this holds into Sunday night, then again, that could be this possible trade, because if you think about, we're starting to see the surges from the Christmas gatherings. The New Year's gatherings tend to be not just your family; it tends to be friends and other people.
Yeah,
I would say that there's more risk of external contact versus just Christmas. Like Christmas, you don't go out with a bunch of strangers, right? New Year's, you do, and hopefully people are not going to be taking their masks off to kiss other people, right, for New Year's. But again, because of all that, we're seeing people close down and lock down until the first of the year. And again, all that should be a negative, should be negative fundamentals for oil. So I think it's still there. Question is, do we hold until Sunday or not? And then do we get short early next week, I think is on the radar. As far as kind of backing up where kind of my thinking is right now, you can see that the VIX really kind of closed high yesterday, and it's a little bit higher than where we closed. We're up 2.48% right now. VIX green typically means red indices, and that's what we're seeing, minus the NQ. But I think there's an interesting setup over in the ES. Here's the big push from yesterday. Yesterday morning, right at that 10:30 reversal time, we talked about how there was probably some selling up here. It got ugly very, very fast. 10 o'clock, 10:30, it rolled. If you draw your fibs from top to bottom on that one, really bringing you back down to that 47.50 level, you can see there's a 50% retracement right where there was a gap and a pullback last night. So this could be something for this morning. Again, is it, it's at the highest probability trade on the last day of the year? Who knows, right? But it is a level that on any other day, if this is, March 11th, right? This is definitely a trade I'm looking for. 50% retracement, area of sellers in there that have shown us they've been there in the past. Strong resistance, strong push in. Yeah. Got to like all those things. So again, it goes back to, is it going to be a standard day today, or is it worth taking the risk on the low volume? Again, it does go with kind of with the narrative. COVID starting to get kind of out of control again. Should be your overall negative. And then if you look at the risk assets as well, look at, basically all the inflation risk assets are up. Oil or gold, yesterday we were talking about 1,800 again. Well, we're back up at 1,825, and gold is pushing. So money is going towards gold. Money is going towards silver, and it's not 1.5 times higher. It's 0.66 versus 0.88, so 0.9. So it's rallying. And then even if you roll down into some of the cryptos, they're up as well. Not up, not all the way back up again, but they're up 1.75%. They're hovering just below that 4,800 mark or 48,000 mark. Dogecoin is up. Bonds are also starting to drive higher. So kind of all the risk assets are going kind of back on, or inflation-based trades are going back on again as we're seeing the indices going red. So remember, as it rolls out of one, it rolls into the other. seems like it's kind of rolling out of the indices right now with the increase of VIX, and people are like, wait a second, let's throw it back in, throw it in gold. We know that that's safe. We know that the Bitcoins. If you have inflation, that's where you're going over there. If you're a newer generation trader, and then even bonds, people are starting to throw money back into the security over in bonds again. So it's kind of like it should be rolling around as a red day today. And again, nobody wants to end, but it makes a great story for the news talking about how we ended on a negative, and what does 2022 look like? Because remember, it's out with the old, in with the new, and it's kind of what we're looking at. And
I don't know. I'm
Apple
poking
down,
around. I'm putting my head around the corner, looking at 2022 very, very cautiously. I don't know what everyone else was doing. Remember, this is what we've been doing for the last few years. Hey, it's a new year, and then you step into the new year and you get whacked in the face. So I don't know. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I think everyone's kind of going cautiously into 2022.
Yeah, and I think you have to be. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of questions right now. I mean, the one good thing, that we should start seeing, remember, this first wave of Omicron started about the second week of December. I know I had 5 kids on the team in quarantine, nothing from lacrosse. It was all coming from school because we had canceled practice. Anyway, but all those kids are now officially out, and a lot of the people that were, had a COVID Christmas are now all coming out of it. So yeah, there'll be another wave coming in, but now we're going to start seeing the kind of the first wave of everybody that got it is coming through the back end. So there may be some positive notes in this that we who knows, maybe we can peak early and we start to see it drop down below. But I do think that there's a lot of risk right now associated with New Year's Eve. And it's going to 7 to 10 years after that,
people are kind of had enough, and I don't know. We'll see what it all brings.
Yeah.
We'll wait for the next mutation. But as for today, very quiet day, very calm day. Not a lot going on.
Yeah.
Seeing oil down a bit, oddly. With the
natural
oil
gas is
weakness,
about 1.8.
you're seeing
about
strength in the Canadian dollar, which is weird. So,
yeah, probably it's most likely because of the OPEC news, which they think will drive oil. And again, oil driving down now. Remember, oil driving down now makes complete sense. With everybody starting to talk about lockdown in preparation, because if OPEC says no, we're holding, we're not going to increase supply whatsoever, that should be a positive for oil. So again, it driving down right before is the setup for a long come January. So.
All right. With that, there really isn't a lot else to be talking about. It really is just a very calm end to the year. Want to wish everyone a very happy, safe, and sane new year. Hope everyone stays safe. I want everyone to have fun too. I know I'm looking forward to a fun night out. Actually, not doing anything crazy. We're just having dinner with another couple.
I'm being responsible. I'm staying home with my kids. Hopefully, going to bed at 10:30.
Oh, we know where they've been. They know where we've been. We're all vaccinated.
Yeah.
Wait. Well, your kids. I remember
mine are little.
My kids were little.
Yeah.
When my kids were little, like 6, we do a New Year's countdown like at 9 or 10. They didn't know the difference.
Yeah. No, with the 2-month-old, it's kind of like, we can't do fireworks anyway. It's a little bit. He's a little bit too young for it. So
he doesn't even know.
he's clueless. So yeah.
You could trick Jen though. You could definitely trick Jen. Hey, it's New Year's. It's 8:00 at night. Let's do a countdown, and then you can
but she stays up till 11:30 anyway. 11 o'clock. So she's the night owl. So I don't want to trick her too much and keep her up till like 2. Like, oh, is there more? Let's stay up. No. Let's go to sleep. She's got school this week after being off for 2 weeks. So it's kind of like, I got to get her back on a routine. You guys know everybody needs a new routine. So that's kind of what, as a parting shot. Don't forget your trading routines. This weekend is big. Yes, party it up if you want. Sunday, it's back to work, guys. Make sure you do your chart analysis on Sunday because, again, the markets will be back in full swing, returning volume, especially Monday. Markets open. Everybody will be acquiring new positions on Monday, so it should be a very high volume day. So
we got that to look forward to. With that, any questions for Nadex, please email us customerservice@nadex.com. Brian's available at support@keeptradingsimple.com. We didn't really have a lot to talk about. Very calm day to the markets today. In regarding a hot spot, no news, no economic events. It's just one of those days. So check out the open. I have a feeling, though, it's going to get very quiet and very thin come the afternoon. Brian and I will be back on Monday in 2022. Again, want to wish everyone a very safe, happy New Year. Love having you guys join us every morning. I'm glad we were able to join this week, even though we had it scheduled to be off. And good luck in the markets. We will catch you again on Monday. Thanks, everyone.